when we talk of governments and governance, apart from the union government, this country is of a federal structure, and states plays a very important role in governing the people. They deal directly with people. Uh, so apart from the role of union government, role of state governments become very important. And this session is quite focused on the role of states. When in national governance, when we are talking about digital transformation for effective governance, there has to be proper digitization, proper awareness for going digital in states. And what is the status, how the states are going about it, this we will discuss in this panel discussion. I am very thankful for the eminent panelists to joining us in this panel discussion, Mr. Amit Kumar Sinha, Dr. Abhishek Jain, and Mr. Anshul Gupta. As you have all gone through the inaugural session, you all have seen the eminent guests speaking about the role of technology today in governance. And Honorable Minister spoke about how this current government in India has used technology to do away with a lot of redundant things which were happening maybe from years in the sector of governance. How they use technology to serve people directly, to make the governance easier for a person who is at the last mile, to take the policies of government to the people at the last mile. So now we will get to know the state's perspective. So first I'll come to Mr. Amit Kumar Sinha, who is Additional Director General of Uttarakhand Police. Mr. Amit, policing is something where, yes, there has been a great role technology has played from over the years, but still I think there is still a need of awareness among people that yes, these cyber crimes that are happening, one should report that to the police, and cybercrime can be treated well through technology, because I have it's a general perception that there is more awareness is needed. And apart from technologies, what should be the role of the officials, the responsible people, be it in police or administration, to use that technology to make systems more secure and more safer? So over to you, Mr. Amit Kumar Sinha, your thoughts on using technology.
As you said about acceptance of cyber crime happening around us, and how police people are making people aware that yes, you come to us and report your cyber crime, is the biggest challenge now, because I think it's basically what you can say attitudinal, it's a behavioral thing. We had been for the last so many years having this habit of not registering a crime, intending to not register a crime, because obviously police public ratio is one factor. Apart from them, a huge bunch of cutting of CDs is another. But as far as cyber crime is concerned, we have this habit of saying that yes sir, we don't know, we are quite unaware of these type of crimes, so maybe you give us more training. And that is it. I mean, policemen also be trained for handling more and more cybercrime. But the best part is that yes, we all use Facebook, WhatsApp. Every chap I have seen, a police chap, is using every type of digital media to communicate with each another. But when come to doing the police job, they say that they don't know. So this is the attitudinal change which I think the leaders of the police force, they should look into it. I had been handling IT department of Uttarakhand for the last 5 years also. In fact, just only I left the charge. And there also I saw that adaptation of e-office was such a big task. I mean, you go to department, they'll say कि नहीं सर ये तो हो ही नहीं सकता. In fact, वो तो बड़ा अच्छी बात सुबह कही कि कोविड एक तरह से boon in disguise था हमारे लिए. कोविड ने जबरदस्ती ई-ऑफिस पे ले आए. मतलब लोगों ने यहां तक कहना शुरू किया साहब वो पुरानी फाइल में कोविड ट्रैवल करता है. तो कितने झूठ बोले हम लोगों ने. मतलब हमने तो अपने लोगों को कहा याचक बन के जाओ, उनको ऑफर दो कि फ्री इंटरनेट देंगे आईटी डिपार्टमेंट की तरफ से, ई ऑफिस लगा ले, और ये झूठ झूठ बोल बोल के और ये बोल के कि कोविड तुम्हारे फाइल में ट्रैवल कर रहा है। तो मैं ये कह रहा हूं कि एटीट्यूडनल चेंज जो है ये बड़ा जरूरी है, चाहे वो पुलिस के लिए हो चाहे गवर्नमेंट। मैं कह रहा हूं अक्रॉस द फील्ड गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट्स को हमें कहीं ना कहीं एक्सेप्टेंस जो होता है, अभी हम कोई भी मेरे पास प्राइवेट वेंडर आता तो मैं सोचता हूं कि ये मेरे पास सामान बेचने आ रहा है, इससे दूर दूर रहना है। तो हम लोगों ने एक मेथड निकाला कि हम लोगों ने वेंडर्स कॉन्फ्रेंस करना शुरू कर दिया। अगर मुझे कोई सामान खरीदा तो उसके पहले वेंडर्स कॉन्फ्रेंस कर लेते हैं, भाई थोड़ा देखते हैं क्या करते हैं, और उसकी पूरी बुकलेट बना के तब फिर हम लोग टेंडर डॉक्यूमेंट बना के पुटअप करना शुरू किया। तो उससे क्या हुआ कि एटलीस्ट उस वेंडर को ये भी नहीं लग रहा है कि मुझे नहीं सुना गया। तो कहीं ना कहीं गवर्नमेंट ऑफिसर्स के एटीट्यूड में जब चेंज नहीं आएगा तो ये कितनी भी सारी चीजें आप डिजिटल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन कर लीजिए, वो चीजें वहीं की वहीं रखी रह जाती है। तो हमारे ख्याल से ये चेंज आ रहा है, और देर सवेर मुझे लगता है कि काफ़ी पुलिस में तो मैंने चूंकि थोड़ा सा पुलिस हायरार्कियल भी चलता है और दबाव में काम कर लेता है तो एक्सेप्टेंस ज़्यादा है। जैसे 2013 में हम लोगों ने सीसीटीवी शुरू किया और इट्स रनिंग क्वाइट वेल नाउ। वैसे ई ऑफिस भी हम उत्तराखंड में व्हाट वी आर सीइंग दैट वी हैव कंप्लीटेड ऑलमोस्ट ऑल द गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट्स नाउ and only 20% is left. So still I think they can manage to complete that work also. So yes, attitudinal change, I think one of the biggest challenge which we have to cope up with.
I think rightly mentioned by you, Mr. Sinha, that attitudinal change in attitude is very important. And yes, blessing in disguise was Corona was there. In COVID times, we were forced to go digital. And in most of our lives, it has taken place. Now digital has become an integral part. And we have seen that in government offices also. Various places I have visited in government offices, I used to see the PS office used to entertain emails. Now I see most of the PS offices have WhatsApp on their screens. So I think maybe that is for more easier messaging and more easier sharing of information. So people have, I think, improved in terms of digital. And if I come to Dr. Abhishek Jain, Dr. Jain, you are Secretary of IT as well as Education and Technical Education. During COVID-19 period, one of the most transformed sector was, I think, education was there. So we have seen transformation in education. We have seen now there are virtual schools are coming up, digital schools are coming up, digital universities are coming up. So there has been a transformation. So I would like to request you, as a Secretary of IT and Education, what kind of change do you see in the governance scenario in terms of digital interventions?
I'll not speak in a very technical manner because I think there are a lot of technical experts who are more wiser than the people on the dais. But I'd like to say a few things from the point of view of governance, which actually improves the lives of the people. First is that whenever we speak of improving governance through IT and digital technologies, I always look at the lowest level of administrative hierarchy. Suppose I ask anyone, for a common man, who is more important? A normal police constable or a DGP? If I ask who is more important for a common man, a patwari or a district collector, what will be your answer?
I think who is more reachable is...
Okay. If I ask for a common person, who is more important? A lineman or a superintending engineer of electricity department? If I ask for a common man, and when I say man, I am gender neutral, it includes man and woman. For a common person, if it pertains to like forest department, who is more important? A local ranger or some chief conservator of forest? So we all know that the functioning of the government is always judged by the people from the perspective of the government functionaries and the systems with whom they interact on a daily basis. Suppose in education we say हमने ये कर दिया, हमने वो कर दिया, but गांव में लोग बोले अरे मेरे स्कूल में मास्टर तो आता नहीं है, तो आपने ये कर दिया, वो कर दिया, मेरे को क्या फायदा? So therefore, our thrust has always been that you need not tell people what the government is doing. They should actually feel it. They should actually feel development rather than they should be told. And hence the need for improving the digital infrastructure right from the lowest level. So therefore we encourage a bottom-up approach, which is a oft-repeated word. So that is one domain that we are looking at, especially in Himachal, which is considered as one of the best governed state, not only by the government, but even by the World Bank and the top economists, including Amartya Sen. That is one part. Second is, as far as IT is concerned, we are focusing on 2-3 points. First is, whether a normal, semi-literate, rural, Hindi-speaking person can also avail all the benefits of digital transformation which an English-speaking, urban, digitally literate person can avail. क्या गांव में बैठी हुई कोई 70 साल की बूढ़ी महिला जिसको ज़्यादा कंप्यूटर मोबाइल नहीं आता, उसको भी डिजिटल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन का उतना ही फायदा मिल सकता है जितना हम शहर के लोगों के लिए. So that is why we don't want to create another sort of digital inequality. And that is why we are also focusing on, because Himachal is 90% rural population. So therefore we are focusing on those segments of the society who need it probably much more than their urban counterparts. The second focus is to create, we are creating a government information management system. I have worked as district collector in 3 districts for 6 years, and we know that almost 80 to 90% of the time of a district collector is consumed by information either bottom up or top down. So if we can create a very robust real-time government information management system where you just feed the numbers and automatically any person at the district, state or national level can access to that. The other thing is we are also focusing on GIS mapping and digital mapping of various attributes. Can we use the mapping through GIS and latest softwares like ArcGIS to have a distribution of our school networks, of our drainage system, of our road infrastructure, and then we can see which are the left out areas, because there would always be, there would be number of schools in and around Shimla, but if we go to far-flung areas, there would be very less concentration. So can we have a better evidence-based and data-driven decision making using our GIS mapping and digital technologies? And the last part is that why should a citizen have to come to the government for any benefit? I will not say benefit, for any entitlement. Suppose schedule caste का कोई बच्चा है जिसको पोस्ट मैट्रिक स्कॉलरशिप लगनी है. Suppose minority community का कोई बच्चा है जिसको कोई स्कॉलरशिप मिलनी है. We should have a robust data network system which is integrated so that as soon as a person or student becomes eligible, he or she should automatically get some message that, okay, now you are eligible for this thing. If we can achieve that, which we are saying automated entitlement delivery system, then definitely the reach and impact of all the government schemes will be optimally utilized by the people for whom they are actually there. So I'll say we are focusing on these 3-4 aspects so that each and every person who doesn't know technology, lives in a rural area, maybe a farmer or a laborer, is also a partner and an active beneficiary of the digital transformation of Himachal and of India. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jain. I think the applause says that these 4 or 5 points which you have mentioned, these are very important aspects, and in next round of questions I'll definitely ask you. You must be facing challenges in that, so maybe now you can answer on that.
Yeah, absolutely. There are lots of challenges because the challenges are on different aspects. I don't think technology isn't a challenge. I don't think finances are a challenge. Having worked at different level, both at the policy formulation level as well as at the policy implementation level, I can very well say that अगर सरकार में कुछ अच्छा करना है तो पैसा कभी आड़े नहीं आता, टेक्नोलॉजी कभी आड़े नहीं आती, इच्छा शक्ति होनी चाहिए. If we have the willpower and the determination as well as the right intent, then everything falls in place. Technology is not an issue. Money is not an issue. Sometimes we feel, अरे सरकार को पैसा चाहिए, बहुत पैसा होता है. और and the best of the successful stories have always been where there has been very low input as far as finances are concerned. It is only this thing and this thing, the willpower and the right intent.
Definitely. I think Mr. Sinha and Dr. Jain, you both, I think, agree on these points that attitude and intent are very much important to use the technology for a clean governance and better governance. I would like to come to you, Mr. Anshul Gupta. You are the project director for the State Electronic Development Corporation of Madhya Pradesh. So let us know that what kind of IT intervention you are doing as a corporation of electronic development in the state.
So basically, the name is a slightly misnomer. It's old PSU, but now we are into IT development. So we are, one can say, state counterpart of NIC. Most essentially, like other panelists mentioned, that digital governance should be, there should be an intent behind it. Like when it started, it used to be simply like you have hard files in office and you just convert it to an Excel or you keep it there. Next step came when people were able to apply online. But the processing of the complete request or application was happening offline. And finally, an e-certificate will be issued. So it brought certain transparency because one could see when was the application made, when was the request raised, and when it was cleared. But the workflow was still manual. Now what we are attempting in Madhya Pradesh is that end-to-end digital flow should be there. And a prime example is what we have done is RCMS, as Revenue Case Management System. And as all of us would have heard about how Income Tax Department is nowadays doing a faceless assessment. So like an officer sitting in A city would be doing assessment of a taxpayer in B city. It did not be like the physical boundaries, the geographical jurisdictions have been erased. Similarly, as sir mentioned that the ground functionary of the departments are very important for the people. So what you do, say, when one buys land or when land is transferred, mutation, which you call in normal terms. Now we have started in Madhya Pradesh Cyber Tehsil. So basically, all the land sale when happens or the land is transferred from a father to a son, those requests flow in the system, and tehsildars, you may call it tehsildar, but they are more functioning like operation executives sitting in capital or somewhere else. They are disposing those requests. So the beneficiary did not come to the beneficiary or the applicant did not come to the office. Similarly, another very important area, because Madhya Pradesh is an agricultural based state and large rural population. So crop estimation is a backbone of how the government policies are framed in agriculture field. It also determines how much crop are going to happen, what will be the government procurement targets. So every year in the crop seasons, Kharif and Rabi and maize, patwaris will go to the fields and they will, see which crop is being grown by which farmer and they will enter into it. Now we have done a GIS-based Girdavri. So like first step was GIS-based Girdavri, well, an app was developed and all these revenue functionaries will go to the field. They will actually have to go to the field, they will mark the crop, and we will get a very real-time data in 10 or 15 days instead of earlier tedious collection of 3 or 4 months. Since last 2 years, we have gone one step further. So now we are using AI ML in this. So we have taken the satellite images of the complete state and we have put that layer on our app. And it actually, based on the image processing, it says that this would be wheat crop or this would be rice crop or this would be maize crop. And then Patwari has to, either agree with it if it's correct or he has to make a correction. So like software, like when we started it, the system was 50% correct. Next year it was 85% correct. And this year we have achieved 95% accuracy. So in next 1 or 2 years or 3 years, we are envisaging a situation where we will stop manual Girdavri. We call it crop estimation is called Girdavri, will stop it altogether. So basically, a satellite layer, like as I mentioned, satellite images layer would be populated on the app, and every farmer can see that, okay, system says that my crop in my field is this one. So either he has to agree or disagree. And when he disagrees, then a manually Tahsildar will go or a Patwari will go and he will check and he will resolve the dispute. So this is, this is what we force, this is what we see as a complete digital governance, where not only the front application or the delivery of the certificate or the entitlement, but the entire process, is digitized and people get benefit. In the earlier session today, some of the panelists talked about 5G. 5G, I would like to tell that it will bring revolution. The kind of latency it will provide us and the kind of applications we'll be able to do. For example, every state has reservoirs in very far off areas. And real-time monitoring is not actually possible because you have connectivity issues. After 5G, we will be able to do that. Mining is happening in different places, once again happens in far off areas. With 5G, the IoT we have been hearing about, but there has not been much application of IoT in the governance solutions. I believe that will be possible after 5G is in place. And once different departments, different schemes build a database, then how this database talk to each other. This won't be, I would say, much AI or ML, but data sharing. So like what GST and income tax and other departments are doing, mostly on the taxation front, that has to be done on the entitlement-based schemes also. So like in Madhya Pradesh, right now we have a system where somebody crosses the age of 60 years or an incident, then system puts a trigger that this fellow is eligible now for the old age pension. If we record a death, then automatically a trigger is placed that this person has died, so his widow, she should be checked whether she is eligible for the widow pension or not. So once we have all these databases, and it's basically single citizen database, how we are naming it, we're in the process of implementing it, and we should be up and running maybe by the end of this year. So for example, our health systems capture the incident of birth, that a child is born. This same child, after 2 or 3 years, will go to our Anganwadi. This same child will, after 5 years, he or she will go to the school. So that incident, when it has already happened, prospective planning के हिसाब से जो है, it should be moved to all the departments. So they will know that in this particular year, I will have those many kids at my hand. I will need this many schools. I will need this kind of budgets. That is the kind of planning is possible. Evidence-based planning, one may call it, or one may call it data-driven policy making. It's perfectly possible if our systems are able to talk to each other. There is a front and back end operability. So I believe when these things would be done, and these things would be done successfully across the states and across the departments, then citizenry will have real benefit of digital governance and digital initiative.
Thank you, Mr. Gupta. You rightly mentioned about various departments implementing technology to their audiences or to the people. But you also mentioned that databases interaction is very important. A proper interaction between departments is very important in terms of technology for bringing the governance on ground. It has been a challenge also in real time. So definitely. But when we speak about governance, Mr. Sinha, you have been in IT department for like 5 years, and now you are into policing, and you are in the state which has a lot of challenges. Maybe the difficult terrain, climatic issues have been there in Uttarakhand. So how technology can really help in meeting all those challenges that the states possess?
I would like to answer in a very general manner that as a government official, we should be working between legal and illegal. We should know, earlier it was a thin line, it was a very tightrope walking. Now it's a whole highway. The digital thing has created a whole highway between legal and illegal. Now you just can't say कि ये rule नहीं कहता है. Rule नहीं कहता तो rule को तोड़ो. Illegal नहीं है. क्योंकि rule digital के लिए बना ही नहीं था. Rule digital के लिए बना ही नहीं था. Digital में तो adapt हो गया वो. आज भी हम क्या कर रहे हैं? चीजों को डिजिटाइज कर रहे हैं, ऑटोमेट नहीं कर रहे हैं. विदाउट बीपीआर वी आर एक्चुअली कन्वर्टिंग इट. तो कहीं ना कहीं मुझे लगता है कि ये रूल तोड़ने की जरूरत है, जहां पे वो इलीगल नहीं हो. ये करना जरूरी है. मतलब वो फाइनेंशियली इरेगुलरिटी वाले पैराग्राफ में न घुसे. बहुत स्कोप है, ह्यूज हाईवे है, लीगल और इलीगल. तो वहां पे अगर प्ले करें तो वी कैन एक्चुअली डू इट.
Right, I think rightly mentioned by you. And I think now our time is also over, and we'll be moving on to the next session. And here we'll be closing this discussion. States Madhya Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and Himachal Pradesh, three important states, discussed about their strategy in terms of implementing digital in their states, and very frankly, challenges were also being discussed here. And we can take it as a crux that yes, attitude and intent is very important. And as Mr. Gupta also mentioned, that interaction of databases is also very important of different departments in bringing the real governance to the people at the last mile. So here we close this discussion. Thank you so much, eminent panelists, for joining us.